Okay. Okay, it's on Twitter. Let me put it in my Discord. Boom. Okay. All right.
Yo.
Let's see if it went public. Did it go public? So one time I started the whole thing, and then I looked, and it was literally fucking unlisted, and I was like, okay, sick. Went like 5 minutes straight, and I was like, fantastic.
That's hectic. I love it.
All right, guys. So we only have a few people in here. We're gonna the people will trickle in at some point. So, anyways, we're gonna get started right now. It's me and NFT Nate. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks for having me on, Cade.
Hell yeah. So this is Tom's not here right now, so we're gonna do a tea time with NFT Nate in the Joyage Kingdom, talking about some different things that are happening in the industry. A lot of rumors are happening, but we're gonna talk about the Antonym project that had like pushed back the reveal a couple times, then they finally revealed. We're gonna talk about the price action there. We're gonna talk about Cool Man's Universe having some rumors around it with Disney. We're gonna talk about Bored Ape Yacht Club and the rumors about land, and then some strategies we have moving forward. Are we on the cusp of a bull run? And we have Instagram potentially integrating with NFTs in the space, according to Mark Zuckerberg, according to news sources, which again, I don't know if that's completely confirmed, but we'll find out. Yeah. So anyways, guys, if you have any questions about any stories that came up this week, just ask them in there. We're not going to be able to cover everything because honestly, there's so much random shit that we probably are missing stuff. But anyways, I'm going to share my screen and okay. So this is the Antonym project. Me and Nate both were kind of excited. I was a little bit more low-key about it, but Antonym had minted. It ran up to what was it? It ran up to like I think you were pretty much spot on. You were like, it's going to run up. Like, what? Do you remember your breakdown, Nate?
Like, my breakdown was no, it was terrible. It's like, it was one of those things where it's like, no, because I feel like when Antonym dropped, it's basically Antonym dropped, Rubber Duck Bath Party and cartoons all dropped in one day, and those had enough people kind of excited about it. Throw in the bearishness, and you're going, all the liquidity had been split to a few different projects. Then everyone was kind of like a little bit scared as well, and then that's why you just end up with something that's like that was terrible. So yeah, no, I put it up there, and as soon as it launched, I actually jumped in on my video and I put up I pinned a comment going like, well, this aged like milk. It's terrible.
Well, weren't you right about the initial run up, like right when they minted?
Yeah, but I didn't think it'd go down that far, and it went down that far, and then it just stayed low. Like, look, where it ran was where I kind of thought it would be, but like if you take that whole bracket, almost like drop it lower in terms of like price points. But so the mint price for it was 0.15 for the whitelist, and then it was a Dutch auction based off what the secondaries were, but that kind of went all the way down, and I think it went to like 0.3 where a lot of people got it.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Also, everyone, if I am a little bit foggy at the moment, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, so it's like super early. This is usually when you're degening and going to sleep, but now it's
for real.
Now it's awake time.
Yeah, dude, thanks for sure. Thank you for being here this fucking early. And yeah, so what's interesting is that when they launched originally, when the reveal happened, the floor went up, which hasn't happened. That doesn't happen very often. You know, it wasn't like an astronomical rise, but it definitely did like sort of almost a 2x. It went all the way up to like 1 ETH. At one point, and I noticed that a lot of the floor ones have these the pothead trait. I'm noticing a lot of floor, and then what is the other one? It was I think they're actually at the top of the floor. It's these ducks, and then it was a whale or something. Yeah. I saw a lot of these on the floor, and so I think I'm not sure. What were your thoughts on the reveal? Like, what are your thoughts on the art? Because that's all subjective, but.
Yeah, I like it. I like the one that I've got. I'm not. I think it's cool, but I feel like there are cooler ones out there. I have seen people tweet, and like each of them does feel like a one of one. It doesn't feel generative. Like I haven't. It's like it's almost like I can see bits and pieces where there are different, like where you can see that the traits are, like sort of across them, but everything does seem like pretty unique, if that kind of makes a sense. Like just at a snapshot, if you're having a look at it, everything does look quite different, which is cool. And I'm glad they actually did that. If they waited this long to do the reveal and it all like ended up like a hype bears situation, then I'd be like super bad. Terrible. Like, and I think the reason that the floor price did what it did, too bad like right now, but is the idea that like the expectations were quite low because people are like, okay, we've seen this play out before. It's going to look terrible. It's going to look shit. But then it actually it came out and people were like, oh, this looks fire. Then you go down and you're like, oh, that looks interesting. Like when you get a project where you can go to OpenSet and you can scroll, but you keep scrolling because you go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. That's when you get something that people go, okay, I need to get something. When it's like when you look at 5 or 6 and they all kind of look the same, you go, okay, I'm fine. I'll dip out. That's why I think the psychology and the mentality of it. And I'm glad that, look, I would have liked the reveal earlier, but if that meant that we didn't get what we got, then I'd be kind of a little bit angry. I'm not sure if that made sense, but like the idea is like, look, with the reveal and what's happened, I'm kind of happy with it because the piece that I've got, and that's the thing, they look real. Like they don't look like a digital image. It looks like it's a photograph of a real object. So you go, there's effort that's gone into 3D. I don't know how to do 3D, but it's like most 3D looks cheap. That doesn't look cheap.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think when it initially revealed, I think I was disappointed by my specific one. But I was also, when I was scanning the floor, I was also kind of like, man, like there was a lot of variety. Like that is interesting that you said that you do keep scrolling because there's a bunch of them that look very different. I think I was more surprised at the actual design of a lot of them. There was a lot of them with, let me see if I can find one on the floor. Here, actually, I'll pull it up right now. I'll share my screen. There was a lot on the floor that, I don't know, when I was looking at all the pre-reveal photos that they're sending us, I didn't see a lot of these things with like, it looks like sticker style or something like this. And I thought they were all going to be like some, I don't know, like sleek design. And so I was kind of surprised when I saw it. And so like the one I got was like very sleek. It was like one color with a little bit of design on it. But that's just because I'm a picky bastard for art. But you're right about just like scrolling, and like each one looks pretty fucking different from the second one. And I'm impressed. You're right. It does look. It definitely is a step up from like Hype Bears or something. I feel like Antonym did well because Hype Bears fucked up so bad that Antonym almost had it easy. But
that's it.
What are your thoughts moving forward now? Has anything changed with the business side of it, as far as like a long-term vision with Antonym because of what happened on Mint Week, or is that not such a big deal to you?
For me, I was always going to kind of hold this long term. I would have only sold it if I had something ultra rare and I could then scoop up some flaws, or if I had something that was really terrible that I didn't like and I wanted to kind of move into something that I liked a little bit more, mainly because, and this just goes against what everyone's like in it to flip and make money. But the idea is like, I'm a YouTuber. I want stuff in my background.
Yeah.
And I
see you got the tomato, tomato, fucking ketchup thing behind you.
And it's like, the thing is, everyone goes like, well, how about you give me $10,000 and I'll give you a statue? And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't make the fact is like, it doesn't make sense with that. Like the idea is like, if I can stock everything in the background, which then is also an NFT, because also that's how you onboard people. When someone comes in and they go, hey, what's this? You're going, okay, I've actually got a digital version of this thing. And then it kind of plays into it, because the reason that, like, I know that you're in the background, you've got some cause sort of merch, memorabilia, like I've seen it before.
All over
stuff.
And
it's like, the idea is like, the reason that sells like insanely well on the secondary market, like you can go to like StockX or like those types of things and resellers and get those things, is because they do limited runs. It's cool. It's on trend. It's pop culture. Like that's just what it is. And the idea of like with something like Antonym, if they play out where you want it to play out, like where I think they'll play it out, that'll become that thing. And if you're holding that Antonym and you can actually get that exclusive piece that no one else can get, then you're fine, because hopefully one day I'm a baller with a big ass mansion. And when I do, I want to have a big ass statue like in the foyer. And you can only get that. Like there's going to be a point in time where you can only get that if you're an Antonym holder. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. And like when it comes down to it, it's like, if I was just in this for I think if I was in NFTs just strictly for money, like just like, and wasn't really kind of trying to build out kind of a collection, friendships, all this kind of stuff, I don't think I'd be a YouTuber, because it's hella dumb to put your face on stuff and just be like, you know what I mean? It's hard, because some projects I move into and you build a relationship with them, and it's more like you're not going to sell even if the money was there, because the relationship's more important about the business of being a YouTuber and being in the NFT space. Because the idea is like, Kate, if you drop something, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to hold it, I'm never going to sell it. Someone could offer me $1 million. Okay, I'd most likely take that.
Yeah, you better sell for $1 million.
Yeah, that's it. But the idea is that I would hold it because it's that relationship building thing, because one day you're going to run into that person. And it's like, I think we've touched on this before. If you're holding a VFriends and you're running to Gary Vee and you're holding that VFriends, instantly you're put above the list of everyone else around him. He's going to talk to you.
100%.
So I find, so like circling back, it's a little bit wish-washy, but the idea with Anthem is I like the goal where they want to go, but it also kind of plays into what I want to be doing as the business of kind of being in NFTs.
Yeah. And plus, they're artists, they're art-focused projects. So if you meet the artist and then you're like, oh, fuck, I did sort of sell your NFT, my bad. Like, that would kind of suck. So I'm in the same boat. Like, I hold a Bungie for that exact reason. I don't know where their future's going. I see them putting in a lot of work behind the scenes. I'm like, look, hopefully I can get a statue of you guys someday. I'm just going to hold my Bungie. Plus, if I ever meet Brandon, I don't want to be like, ah, shit, I sold it. So anyways, we'll move on from Anthem. That was definitely an interesting project, definitely an interesting week because of how they pushed it back. And I was surprised there wasn't more FUD, which is because we were in a bear sentiment. And what people don't realize if you haven't been through a full couple cycles, because I was telling my friend who joined in the middle of the bull run at the beginning of this year, and I was like, look, you have this very, very skewed version of what you think NFTs are. You don't realize the sentiment and how it really is in the dead bottom of the bear market. No one wants NFTs. Like, that's just not the case. No. He's like, well, I'll just sell it for this much liquidity. No, like, no one will buy it. They don't want your NFT in the bear market. So just for people to know, bear markets are very different than bull markets. It's pretty crazy, the sentiment, how quickly it can change within like 24 hours. It's just different.
Exactly.
All right, so we'll move into, this is a new trend and a new strategy. So actually, this guy, I'm sure a lot of you guys know, the Bitcoin Express, he's moved into some, just covering everything from crypto to NFTs, but he talked about this new trend, which is essentially buying before the rumor. So this is a strategy that I've actually implemented. I already recorded a video on. I'm just waiting to post it later today. And it's basically the idea of buying NFTs that you think could be at the bottom of a rumor. And so what had happened the other day is Coolman popped off, and I bought Coolman around 1 ETH, like a couple weeks ago maybe. And then they had a Disney rumor, and they literally did a 2.5x within the span of an afternoon. And I ended up holding because I was like, fuck, I don't know if the rumor is true or not. And I can't find out if it's true. I was like, fuck, I'm going to hold it. I don't want to sell it 2.5 ETH and then it fly to 10 ETH like CloneX did. But the idea is that people are starting to be like, oh shit, what project is going to be bought by Disney or whatever the project is. And so there's rumors that are popping out every other day. You know, we also had the Bored Ape Yacht Club with this land announcement that hasn't, I don't think, been confirmed by anyone on the team at Yuga Labs or Bored Apes. I think this is just... I don't know how this kind of thing happens, but what are your thoughts on this whole shit thing?
Well, it's like, so if we take a step back from it, what I like is this gives legitimacy to the space. Now, I know people are like, oh, but people spreading rumors and putting blog articles out. But the idea is like, if people that aren't deep in the NFT, degens aren't putting this stuff in, but people outside of the space are covering in a sense, like why did the Kardashians become the Kardashians? Because you had people covering and reporting them. You had paparazzi, you had that kind of thing. So stepping back, I like the idea that people, like, this has become a thing. Like, okay, cool. What could Disney buy? What could Adidas buy? What could this thing happen? More media then supports it, legitimizes it. So Stacy down the road, sorry, Stacy, that says NFTs are a scam and bad. If the press and stuff go, what's it going to be bought like? When they search for an NFT, they're not going to come up with sort of $70 million rug pull. They're going to come with, here's what asset Disney has just bought. Here's what asset sort of Ford is going to buy or move into, or here are the rumors. It just gives legitimacy to it. I do like the idea of buying the rumor and then selling on the actual kind of the news or like the hype. Like if I was in your position, it's hard because I've been in that position before where you've bought something and you're going, hey, it's going to continue to run. But I'm starting to consciously think, what is the actual likelihood of it happening? Yeah. And would you prefer an extra sort of 1 or 2 ETH in your pocket with the potential that it runs to 10? Would you be happy locking in 1 or 2 ETH? And I'm like, I'm starting to get around to the point where I'm like, you know what? If you're buying in, speculating on that news and it pumps because of that news, haven't you just achieved the goal that you set out to do, which was ride that pump, so then offload it? That's the way that I kind of see it. So yeah, circling back a little bit, I see this as a good thing. And I think this only comes from seeing how everything works in the world. When there's a lot of news coverage, when there's a lot of media coverage and things like that happen, it gives legitimacy to the space, which then means that for everyone that's deep in the space, it's good. It might not seem like it's good because like, oh, why there's rumors going around, people are pumping bags and things like that. But that's what media is. Media is just kind of like speculation. This is what things are. Like people watch Netflix, they watch the news because it's like entertainment, because there is kind of all this attention on it. And then like, sorry for like the tangent, but it ends up going like, why? Like there's all these things where, why did Squid Game become so big? Because there were Squid Game memes. Why are there Squid Game memes in the first place? Were there people from Netflix putting out Squid Game memes to then build it up so then Squid Game becomes Squid Game? And then I know that there could be actors behind the scenes putting out rumors to then pump and dump stuff. But overall, Squid Game did work out, and it was like, it was a good show, and people watched it. If people are creating rumors, which then gets people's attention onto it, is that really a bad thing in the long run? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's actually a super interesting perspective. I'm glad I asked you on that, because when it had first happened for me, it was one of the first rumors I had seen before like this became like a thing where just rumors popping up left and right. And so I didn't know if it was true or not. And for me, the 1 or 2 ETH would have been nice, but I think for me, I was like, you know what, I when I bought this, I planned to hold it for a massive flip, because I am bullish on that project. I think they'll be really strong because of their brand and because of Dan and how much work he puts into the brand. And so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna hold it. Like I don't really care. And now, even though looking back, and it had literally hit 2.5, and I had called Devin, and I was literally on a walk, and I was like, it's at 2.5 ETH. Like, should I sell it? He was like, you should probably sell it. And I was just like, what if it's true and it really is bought by Disney? Because we're going to 10 ETH if that's true. And he was just like, fuck yeah, you're right. I don't know. And I was just like, you know, whatever. I'm just going to hold it. I didn't plan on selling it anyway, because I was like, when I bought it, I wasn't really planning to sell until it got to 3 anyway. So I was like, whatever, I'll hold. But it did stink that happened, and then it crashed. But that's the game. And I couldn't have learned without that. And now we're able to look back now. And if I buy another project that happens again, I mean, what's going to happen is I'm literally going to sell it, and then it is going to be true, and then it is going to go to 10 ETH. So I know that's going to happen to me. But anyways, we'll move on and talk about the Bored Ape Yacht Club, because that is one strategy you can think, how you just said about buying the rumor and selling the hype. But right now we have Bored Ape Yacht Club plans to have virtual land sales, and then the ApeCoin token. We know the ApeCoin is true. We know this is happening. Mm-hmm. We're not quite sure if this is even at all a thing. The land sales might not be happening at all. We know the ApeCoin is coming. So I think that narrative kind of people just rolled with it. And so a lot of the quick takes that I've heard is that Yuga Labs has netted $455 million. I gotta be honest, I don't know what the fuck they need more money for, but whatever. So they're gonna have the ApeCoin token, which is gonna blow up their brain even more. I really don't know what is in store for Yuga Labs. I mean, I'm sure they spent a lot of money to buy CryptoPunks and Meatbits. But I'm trying to figure out, like, what are your thoughts on where and what Yuga's trying to do here? Because I know they're trying to expand and literally become their own metaverse and probably be one of the first for it. But is this much money necessary? Is this much stuff happening? Are they spreading themselves too thin? Like, is it the perfect time because they've been spending the last few months or the last like almost a year building the project? Or what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's so when you're kind of touching on, okay, I guess something I kind of want to touch on is when you look at someone like big companies like Apple, Google, people are going like, do they really need this much money? But what they've done is they've got they're very business focused, and they really want to make sure that they're kind of achieving it, expanding what they've got, their tools, their kind of products, and kind of keep expanding on it. And when I think about Yuga Labs, it's like, if it is run by people that are kind of wanting to actually execute on a vision, a business doesn't really go, okay, we only want to hit 100 million and then we never want to grow. They go, cool, we hit 100 million. Now we want to increase by 20%. We want to hit 120. Okay, now we want to hit 160. Like, they keep doing this and building this. And I think it makes sense, because if you want to hold off and kind of only achieve, okay, cool, we're a PFP, and then we bought some other PFPs. So that's what we are. We are NFTs. If they can go, I don't think it's necessarily wanting to make more money, but I think it's expanding the brand and actually expanding that vision, and almost like hedging a bet, because everyone goes, yeah, the metaverse is going to be a thing. Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be in 10 years time? We don't know when like people are going to be like full proper and what it actually looks like. But if they've got the money, that they can then like essentially hedge their bet, do that, become that brand. And then it can then just add to their business case, because this is what I think every single person, when you're looking at a project going, is it a team that's going to execute, that's going to run like a business? And this is a project that is a team that runs like a business, like a business. So I kind of see this as just a great move. And it's like, you know what, they can keep running up new products, keep doing things, because overall it's going to add legitimacy to the space. It's already brought a lot of people into the space, and it's going to continue to bring people into the space. And I also think it's then a roadmap, which then means, like, coming back to something like Cool Man's, it's like, if the path has been laid by a big project to do this, it then makes sense for Cool Man's to be like, Dan to be like, I really like this kind of collection of this art. Maybe I'll buy up this collection. Maybe I'll buy this thing. Maybe I'll integrate these things into my own little metaverse, my own little thing. Because once someone's done it once, it's then easy for it to happen again. The first time a company was valuated at $1 billion, oh, it's $1 billion. Now every company is $1 billion. Once you hit $1 trillion, it's like, okay, cool. It's been done before. It can happen again. So that's kind of where I see it. I don't have any insight on the ins and outs of how it works, but stepping back and looking at it, I want this to happen because it paves the way for projects to actually kind of buy things, do things, and expand things, and actually create a proper brand the way that they kind of should create a brand and operate projects like a business, which is good, because then if you are getting on the ground floor, you are able to kind of ride that hype.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fucking spot on right there. I think you're right about, I mean, also Bored Ape Yacht Club, they, literally up until a couple weeks ago when they bought CryptoPunks and Meebits, they were the innovative big project, but it was, a lot of people were asking questions like, what about them exactly is innovative other than celebrities bought them? And people were kind of like, well, and I was like, that's actually kind of interesting. So when they did that, the reason I asked you about it is because I saw very, very mixed opinions on Twitter about buying CryptoPunks and Meebits. I saw a lot of people saying it's a great move, Larva Labs sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then I also saw a lot of people saying, what the fuck? I don't like this at all. I saw Gary Vee tweet out right before it happened. He was like, CryptoPunks will always be the alpha. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if that was just to be like, CryptoPunks was first, or like what the point of that tweet was, or if he was mad or upset, or if he was excited about it. But I saw a lot of mixed opinions. I saw also about the land from Bored Ape Yacht Club people. Half the people were excited about it. Half the people were like, this is... I don't know. I didn't know exactly what the arguments was, but I just thought it was interesting that there was so much discrepancy within the Bored Ape Yacht Club community. And I actually had a podcast with two guys from the Ragnarok NFT team yesterday, the day before, and they're both Bored Ape Yacht Club holders. And I asked them, I was like, yo, what's it like being in that Discord, by the way? I'm never going to fucking know. And they were like, well, it's not that lit. He was like, it's really just a normal ass Discord, honestly. He's like, you put a message in the general chat, no one's going to fucking respond to you. I was like, really? And I thought it was really interesting because, I mean, there's a lot of hype people in there, but like, to be totally honest, I doubt Justin Bieber's in Discord at 10 in the morning chatting up, Tommy from Kentucky who bought it in Bored Ape at like 0.08 when it minted. So I just thought that the Bored Ape story was very interesting to me. But now, before we talk about Instagram and NFTs, I want to talk about the market, because with all this information, with all this rumors, with all the news, I can't help but get tingles in my body. I feel like my spider senses are tingling a little bit. I feel like a lot of people are starting to say, hold on a second. I'm starting to see some moves happen. I'm starting to see some volume pick up in some different projects. Crypto is still looking pretty fucking the same as it's been, just up and down, up and down, up and down, but generally down in a negative trend. Just a lot of consolidation. And so typically when that happens for an extended period of time, that's when NFTs is supposed to run. But we've been in this limbo stage where NFTs had this very long run, honestly. Like, I've never really seen a bull run for NFTs last as long as it did at the beginning of this year. So I'm curious to know, one, your thoughts on the fact that NFTs literally ran for like 2.5 months almost straight. They had like a week break and then Invisible Friends launched. I thought that massive run up and then an extended run meant a massive crash, which it kind of was, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So are you thinking we're going to go even lower, or are you thinking we're kind of rounding that bottom?
Well, I think so. I've kind of said this to people that I've spoken to. I think we've got another week of this kind of limbo period. Then at that point, and I know that everyone's going to be like, but you're not saying anything. It's either going to go up or down. Now, the idea is that it's still like, people like a week ago, we're all going, okay, yeah, we're in a bear. Like I put out a video like sort of a while back going, hey, I think we're going to hit the bear market. And then it kind of happened. And then when we're in it, it's like, okay, we're really in it now. Now I feel like people are kind of getting over it. All the sort of guys that have been through this before, we're kind of over it. And like you saying, like there's a few things happening where it just feels like every now and then one of your bags kind of pumps a little bit. You're like, oh, that's different. Oh,
Yeah.
that's different. Now, like you can smell the bull around here somewhere. You don't know where he is, but you know he's kind of here. And I feel like we need to go another week for then all of the people that were in here just for sort of quick flips, the people that were here in the bull, to just be like completely gone. So then the people that are in here are actually in here to like properly stay, which then means that we need one catalyst, which will then give confidence to the market. So what will
Is there enough
happen is
liquidity though? That was my
it's
question,
like
because usually crypto has to run up.
well, the thing is, I think that there will be some liquidity because, Cade, are you sitting on things that you just haven't bought yet? Because there's nothing good around. Like at the moment, there's nothing exciting around for me to really get into. Like there's little things here and there, but there's no one beacon. There's no one thing that everyone's like looking forward to. Like, hey, yeah, we're gonna get it. When
Very
there's
true.
that one thing that everyone's looking for, you're able to then kind of load up. Because I was starting to sell things a while back because I knew that we were kind of coming down. I'm like, okay, it's coming down. Offload some things. Hold some ETH, you'll be kind of fine. And also some other guys I know, they actually went out of ETH into sort of stable coin just to kind of hedge that with crypto. And it's like we're all kind of just sitting around waiting for something cool to happen because people are still releasing the same kind of projects. There'll be something that comes out like, oh, this is interesting, that's good. And I feel like that'll then kick it on. But the reason I say we need a kind of week or so of just like nothingness is we need everyone to get really bored, and like there's nothing happening. Then at that point, it's like, does everyone then go, okay, you know what, selling everything, I'm fully dipping out of the NFT space? Because once all those people are gone, then everyone sitting here is going to have some money, and then it's all going to concentrate on that one project. And once that one project goes in, because it's like, where is it? It's basically if house prices go up. So you buy a house for 1 million and it's valued at 1.2. It's unrealized $200,000, but you feel wealthier, which means you go eat out at dinner. If all of your bags start to rise a little bit, or you buy into a project at sort of 0.1 and it goes up to 2, you feel richer. You're not actually richer because you haven't taken it, but you feel richer. What are you going to do? My spare ETH, I'm up to it. I'm up heaps. I'll buy another thing. And then it starts kind of going in. So it's a big psychology play, and that's why. And I know it's kind of getting off topic with NFTs, but that's why governments want to keep house prices high, because the people that are homeowners feel richer, feel wealthier, they spend more in the economy, keeps going around, keeps people employed, that kind of thing. And you got to think about it. Think like everyone that's watching. Think back to when you're in the bull run. Even if you're 100% in NFTs, you felt hella rich because everything kept going up.
Yeah.
But now when it's down, even if you're still holding those NFTs, it's like you could have been more liquid and had more money before the bull run. And yeah, like I hope I'm kind of like getting my idea across, the fact that it's a big psychology play. And I think that once you get that one kickoff thing, feel things pop, people feel wealthier. They're like, okay, I'll throw in another $1,000. Okay, I'll throw in another ETH. They throw it in there, kind of goes up, and it just compounds.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on right there. When I talked about the bull market ending, I think I called it a little bit earlier than people wanted me to, because I know some people were pissed at me about it. I've kind of taken Alex Becker's approach, where I kind of call it a little bit earlier, just because I know I'm not going to be able to call it, and I'd rather be a little bit earlier than a little bit later. Because if you're too late, then you've missed the chance to sell your NFTs. Like my friend Devin, that was his first bull market, so I was like, hey, you should get the fuck out of Star Catchers right now, because it's at 1.5 ETH and it is not going past that. He's like, no, it will, and it dropped all the way to like 0.3 or something. And so he was like, shit, I should have sold at 1.5. And I was like, okay, so that's what you need to do when we're at the height of the bull market. You should be selling. So like for me now, I'm pretty much loaded in for all my like I bought a bunch of blue chips that are boring, but I know they'll go right back up. The ones that have historically gone right back up when the bull market comes. So I've kind of loaded up on those. I'm excited to offload those when the market comes back, and then use some of that liquidity to degen into stuff, and then to buy a car, because I need to buy something in real life. But with this past bull run, I've made a couple of videos on this. We've had literally almost 5 months straight of PFP projects, derivative projects, art projects, literally since the end of last year. We haven't had a proper gaming bull run in a minute. And I've been talking about this. That's the bet I've made. I think the utility focus and the play to earn, all those things have been building at least for a few months. I think we're gonna have a little bit more of a trend in that direction. And then I also yesterday, I think Alex Becker put out a tweet, something about gaming, cryptocurrencies coming back. And usually Alex is pretty spot on. And so I'm curious to see your thoughts on what you think this next trend is going to be, because rarely is it the same each bull run. It just happened to be this past one because we had Hate Beast and straight into Visible Friends. But what are your thoughts into this bull run? Do you have any strategies you're willing to drop, or are you going to keep them to yourself?
I don't have anything I can kind of drop. I'm going to see what the market kind of moves towards, because even though we've had a big PFP run, if we get an influx of people coming in with sort of like Coinbase or people that are onboarded and they want cute stuff, it doesn't matter how many degens want to get into gaming. If you've got sort of 100,000 sort of mums that want to come in and buy really cute things so they can then make their Instagram profile like that cute picture, then that they're going to dictate it, because we're in it and we can kind of think of what's going to happen. But if we're kind of going on, and I'm not saying that you can't have conviction and go in with a play, but the idea is like, if you're willing to adapt and pivot when things do change, then do it and go for it, because then you'll end up making a better decision. Because if like the NFT space is growing so fast, if you do get, like, I'm just like saying, if you get middle America coming in, you then have, I'm not sure who's big in kind of middle America and those kind of like middle-aged mums. If they come in and buy up a whole bunch of cute PFP stuff, then that will just keep running. Like whatever ends up happening, the people that come in with new money will spend the money, and they're just going to be like, oh, I bought this at sort of $2,000, but it doesn't really matter, because like they're just sitting at home anyway. They haven't got nothing to do. They just want to flex on the other mums at like the parents meeting. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm kind of like willing to kind of, when I see something, I'll just jump in and move and kind of get into it, because I know that it's so fickle. Like you said, it can take 24 hours from, okay, this is great, this is the best, into, okay, cool, we've gone hella bear. So I don't have any play. It's not like I'm trying to like sort of keep the cards in my chest. Like I'm literally just going, okay, what's going to happen? What are the people that are going to come in? What are they going to be buying? What are they going to be doing? And then kind of run that there. Because what I think the play is that if it is gaming, like when the first one kind of starts to really pop off and move, you then start thinking, okay, now that is the meta and that's going to move. Now start moving to some of these other things, because it's like, if you knew that Azuki was going to pop off, you could have then gotten into all of the other different anime things and you would have made a sweet bag. Even if you weren't in on Azuki, you were going to make a bag because you saw what was happening and you planned and you preempted it in your head.
Did On Force pump? Because On Force was like one of the first.
Oh, yes.
Right? Did that project pump when Azuki pumped? I'm going to look it up right now.
I don't know, but it's funny. Like I was actually going to do a tweet or send this out to you, but it's like, the fact is, I remember that, and then I laughed at when like how hyped the whole market was for the sevens. I literally just sat in my car laughing.
Oh my god, me too. I was hyped because everyone else was hyped. I didn't know any better.
It's like, it's funny because new people come into space and go, hey, this looks cool. And you're going, hey, this actually has vibes of this, and it's actually touching on this kind of thing. And it's crazy because you look back on what we have gone through and you can kind of see what the new people are going to do. And hence why I think when people are like, and this isn't kind of like throwing shade at anyone, but it's like, I know that the PFP, like acute PFP thing, will always come back because everything kind of comes back. I don't know when, but it'll come back. And then anime will come back, gaming will come, everything's going to come back in circles. Right. And once you've seen it before, like once you've been through the bear once, you're like, cool, it's fine. I guess we're just going to sit here and do nothing for a couple of weeks. Like that is how it is.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And that's for me. That's why I was okay. Like, I think for all of us who've been in this space, we realize, I think in the beginning, we don't think diversity or diverse investing, what's that called? Like, diversifying your assets is smart because you're like, oh no, this is going to work. And then it doesn't. And then you're like, oh shit, I probably should have bought some of this to diversify. And so with my coins, I have a lot of gaming coins in crypto, but then I also have a lot of like DeFi coins because I know, if one pops, probably the other one would pop or whatever would happen. And so with NFTs, I have a lot of money into some of the gaming projects, but I also have some in some blue chip profile picture projects because I know that anything can literally happen. But for me, the gaming projects made sense because I was like, okay, regardless if it pumps this run or the next run, I'm still buying at dumpster prices. Like, I'm still buying at nowhere near what the peak was, which was the basis of Alex's tweet. He was like, look, you buy now or last week or this week. He's like, we're still at like a negative 10x from Sandbox's initial pump up. And he was like, this is literally the position I was 8 months ago when everyone was saying, what am I supposed to buy? He's like, well, you were supposed to buy this 3 months ago when no one was talking about it. And so I wanted to stress here for people in crypto and NFTs, only if you have enough money to, obviously, if you're not spending your rent money and your food money and like whatever else you need to be paying. The bear markets are where you can get rich. And Benjamin Cohen says this all the time. He's like, you can get money in the bull market, but you can get rich in the bear market if you buy what you're supposed to be buying. And so, yeah, I think you're right. You got to play the things by ear. For me, I've been in this space. We've both been in this space for a minute now. And so it's kind of fun because I feel like we get to have an extra level of appreciation because we watched everything from the very beginning. Like we saw the very first, like Omniforce was the first basically anime project. So we saw that happen. We saw the first real wave of hype projects. We kind of saw Bored Ape Yacht Club do its thing throughout the summer. I remember when Journey Crypto was on Twitter and on his YouTube channel talking about it. And I was thinking, what the fuck is this monkey thing? Like, why would I buy that? Like, were you like, do you remember that? Were you thinking the same things? I was just like, why would anyone buy a monkey picture? That's so dumb.
I wasn't like, not that in particular, but as in just like, NFT, like any NFT news, I thought it was like dumb. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of like I needed to snap myself out and going, hey, I'm a part of the herd saying something's dumb. And then that's when you start to reflect on what else did I think was dumb that wasn't dumb. And you then transition into maybe it's dumb because no one gets it yet, but then it becomes a thing. Like crypto was dumb. Crypto isn't dumb anymore.
Right. Very true. Very true. Okay. This is the last story we have. This just popped up. I think I saw this today even, or maybe like a day or two ago. Yeah. It looks like the news came out like in the last day. So essentially the thought is that Mark Zuckerberg confirms that NFTs are coming to Instagram. Now, every single photo I see is a different place where Mark Zuckerberg is at. So I don't know if this actually came from Mark Zuckerberg's mouth or if this is just people making up shit because we're bored. I'm down with either one. I bet either one. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like the reality is, it probably will happen at some point because he is so bullish on the metaverse. He wants it to be the thing, and so he's under the impression. I think he said we're at least 5 years away from a true metaverse style of thing. So, meaning that he has no choice but to integrate them into Instagram or Facebook or something. I don't know how he's going to do it into Facebook. I just can't imagine my mom wanting an NFT as her profile picture, but I also didn't think I would want to. So
yeah, I think when it comes down to, I think because Twitter's done it, it can show that people actually do it, people use it, people like it, which then I think it makes sense for Instagram because look, Facebook I think is for the mums that want to talk about sort of like what's happening down the road, like that is what it is. But with Instagram, that is the flex. Like you're going, where do people post pictures of their Lambos that they hide for the weekend? On Instagram. Like that's just what they do. So I can totally see that happening, and it makes perfect sense because Twitter's done it. You do it with Instagram, people are going to do it. Then it instantly wipes out the poses because someone's like, oh, I'm a millionaire. Why don't you have a Bored Ape then? Like that's what'll happen, and it'll kind of spur that on. So when it comes down to Facebook, like I think that what's going to happen is it needs to then become that move. Like the reason that someone posts about what their kid has done on Facebook is to show, hey, my kid was walking at, I don't know when kids walk, but my kid was walking at 4 months instead of 6 months like everyone else because I'm better. What's the next level of that? Going, how can I prove to someone when I'm posting in that group chat, like in that sort of groups, that I'm better than them? I have the Hex PFP or what, like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I prove that I'm there. How do I prove that my house is more expensive than yours? Other than putting out photos of the house, I have a profile picture that is of something. So that's where I can kind of see it working. Because when it comes down to the why people kind of change it, first off, I changed my PFP because it stops scammers scamming on my behalf.
Is that
people,
right?
Yeah, yes, I have a lot of people scamming. So a lot of people take money, but it's like because you couldn't tell. But I'm the only one with my PFP, like the Hex PFP, and a scammer isn't going to do it because I think it's only like the US, Canada, and the UK that can do it. Like there's only a few countries that can do it. So if you're from like another country, you can't kind of do it just yet. Hopefully it rolls out everywhere. But the idea is like it kind of gives me that little bit of safeness. But the idea that I think it'll turn into a flex that people want to have because Karen from down the road, she wants to have that $5,000 JPEG picture because she's better than all the other moms. And she doesn't say anything. She does it just because she wants to prove that she's better. And that's why I think people were kind of doing this. Like they just want to prove that they're better than someone else, which is like, it sounds bad, like bad and sad, but it's like,
Yeah.
I guess the upside is that if you're holding these cute NFTs that mom's going to buy, you've got a pump on your hands.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting way to put it. Actually, I think if I explain it that way to more older people, they would understand it in that sense. Like to understand that you're buying an asset that exhibits how much it's worth. So if you have an expensive one, it's like that is a direct way to tell people I got this much fucking money instead of being like, look at my house. And like, you're right. Like that's why people get bumper stickers saying my kid's an all-star. My kid's at National Honor Society or whatever stupid shit that no one cares about. It's just like, wow, that's actually a really, really good insight there. What was I going to say? I think there was one last thing about it. Wait, no, it wasn't my notes. Hold on.
So yeah, like just what you're kind of getting at. So yeah, I can definitely see all of those influencers, all those gurus, all those people that want to flex that lifestyle. They're now going to have to 100% front up that that money. Exactly, like Lisa, you just said, no different than buying a Birkin. 100%. Like that's exactly it. Like you've got a Birkin for when you go out to go to sort of coffee to just show, hey, look at what my husband got me. Like this is legitimately that kind of flex. Like, oh, okay, cool. I've got a high paying job. Guess what? I can spend $10,000 on a profile picture. Can you? Oh no, you've just got the circle one.
That's the thought I was going to bring up to you. What are your thoughts on the derivatives for real? Because I find it very hard for me to buy something like Wonder Pals because something like Cool Cats and Doodles already, or not Doodles, Cool Cats and some other products. It's for me. It's like it's just a little bit too close, and I feel like if I rolled up to NFT NYC and I had that instead of a Cool Cat, like Cool Cat would be the flex, or a Bored Ape Yak would be the flex, but I don't know if a Mutant Ape is the flex. So I'm curious, is there a range? Like, is there a range, or is it pretty much like if you don't have the top one, don't even buy? Like, if you don't have Doodles, then why have this other one?
Well, I think it's worth it because think how many apes there are, how many Cool Cats there are, how many Doodles there are, how many like those there are, and think about how many people are in the space. There's only going to be so many, and eventually people are going to have to get something else. Like, look, sure, a watch guy wants to have a Patek. If you can't get a Patek, he gets an AP. Can't get an AP, well, actually, you can't really get a Rolex either. But you kind of start going down the chain for just what you can get, because if you can't get an ape because they're $400,000, what's the next highest thing? Like it just kind of goes down that ladder and goes down that rung. But eventually, not eventually, like if I see someone with a Midnight Breeze banner, I don't care what your PFP is. I'm like, you're my boy, because like I fuck with Midnight Breeze.
I saw that video.
It's also a part of like being in like a community, because by having that having that PFP, you're part of that tight group. And sure, it might not be worth sort of 50th, but because you got in it and you minted it early and it's a super low supply, super tight, people are like, oh, you're my boy. Like, I think that's where it'll kind of come down to it. Or it also comes down to sort of, I don't know the word, but yeah, it comes down to just sort of like, sorry, I don't have the word.
No, I guess for me, I was thinking more like along the lines of like hype. Like, for example, I'll get a lot of people with a Mutant Ape yacht club in my DMs, and I think they think that I think that that's the coolest thing ever by the way they attack me or like the way they carry themselves in the conversation. And for me, holding a Mutant Ape yacht club, I know it's worth a shit ton of money that I can't even afford, but it's just not that cool to me. Like, I don't know, I don't know what it is. Like, I think it's from like a purely hype thing. Like, I guess in my head, I don't know if they bought because they were just like, this is the next best thing, or if they're thinking like, I don't know what it is.
where I've actually had this conversation with some people before, is that where I think where that is kind of derived from is the fact that if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, I've got $20 million, but they're just a dickhead, I don't want to hang out with them. Like, I don't care how rich you are. I care if you're a cool person. So when it comes down to someone's PFP, if like someone's just a cool person but they don't have an NFT, I'm going to hang out with them. I hang out with my friends because they're cool people, not because they have NFTs. And I think the same kind of thing, it comes down to sort of like a personality, because I'm saying that like right now there could be 10 Bored Ape yacht club holders that own, like, that are worth $10 million, I'm not going to let them kind of crash on my couch because I don't care about them. Kate, if you were over here and you're like, hey man, can I just like come over? I'm like, hey bro, you can have the spare bedroom. Like there's that
Let's
kind of thing,
go.
because it's like you relate to someone on a different level, and it comes
Mhm.
down to just like being a good person. I don't care. You don't care how much money they have. You care about them being a good person, and that then turns into a
Mm.
legacy play where I don't care what kind of PFP you've got, what you are, as long as you're a cool, nice person, then I want to hang out with you. And I think that's where it kind of it plays out longer term, because circling back to like the Karen getting the expensive JPEG, if you're buying the JPEG to flex on other people and prove that you're better than them, then you're just a dickhead.
Mhm.
But if you've bought it because you really like it, and you could actually still survive with just your kind of profile picture headshot, then you're the kind of person like that doesn't need it. They're doing it because they like it, and they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's a super good way to put it. You're totally right. That is 100% it. Because there are people who have mutant apes that I do like, and I don't think of it like that when I see them. It's just the people that are being assholes about it. That's actually super interesting. And this will be the last point, because I know you got to get out of here. From Luke, he talked about Bored Ape derivatives, and so this one I wanted to bring up specifically because we're just talking about derivatives. But a lot of derivatives I see are enough different from the whatever project they took inspiration from. But what I've noticed is that with the Bored Ape derivatives, they're basically just a copy. Like I saw
Mm.
Grandpa Ape Country Club, which I'm actually interested in because it's so similar to Bored Ape. But I'm sitting there, I'm like,
That's
this is cheating. This has to be cheating.
yeah. With Grandpa Ape Country Club, I saw that pop up on Nansen. I
Yeah.
minted some, and I
No
think I've told you
way.
this story. I minted some. I minted 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What I then did is it didn't sell out, didn't do anything. The guy then shut the project down, reminted it, then gifted me. So then I ended up with 4.
Oh,
I
nice,
then thought this was going nowhere. I then gifted 2 to some people in my Discord that never had a thing before.
bruh.
Months later, sold out, runs up, and I'm just like,
I'm so hard.
yeah, I'm like, you're killing me. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I see.
I guess
But when it
that's where
comes down
that's
to
the inspiration from. I'm
yeah,
like, that's something it would be really hard for me to flex that project because it's literally a carbon copy of Board Ape Yacht Club.
yeah, I think in the short term, derivatives work. Like I see derivatives, like derivatives, Luke, as a mad kind of as a mad gamble play, like going to the casino and just playing and having fun.
Mm,
But I wouldn't flex a derivative
yeah,
as a kind of like in real life somewhere. But saying that, like, look, there's no 100%. If Grandpa Ape, like, okay, that's super like derived from it. But if there's a derivative that kind of starts running up and then forges its own path and becomes its own entity and unit, then I can see it kind of
yeah,
working. But yeah, it's one of those things where that's where I kind of see derivatives. I would never rep or flex a derivative, but Luke, you're right. If you get in without knowing that people are going to buy into it, you can then game the system because you're front running the psychology, and that's all this market is just like, what are other people going to do, and you do it before they know what they're going to do, and that's how
yeah,
you can win.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I saw someone had asked if I think Will said if Hape is a derivative project. I think it's somewhat of a derivative project, but I feel like it does look enough different. Because if Board Ape Yacht Club, I think we talked about this. If Board Ape Yacht Club does do a 3D version, what happens to Hape?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I
Yeah,
do think Hape is a derivative, but not a like a doodle butts where it's just doodles but with butts on their heads or something.
right.
But the I think it is in a sense because it's got the same kind of framing and everything. But I feel like the art and the team are doing some like they're doing something in a way that's different, and they're trying to carve their own brand. Now, this is
Yes.
just time in the market. 4, 5, 6 months down the line, you'll then know if it is its own solid brand and it can sort of withstand itself. Because then, if apes get fudded, can Hape survive? Like there's that. But the thing
Yeah.
is, coming back to Hape, like I hold my Hape for reasons that aren't monetary. I hold them because it represents helping out other people, which is just a long ass story in itself. So for me, I don't see like I don't care where Hape goes, what it does. Like I'm going to kind of use that as my PFP because it represents more than just the monetary value of it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. How just one, literally, like those hype projects, literally can and do change people's lives every single day, and so that is wild. So, anyways, guys, if you're in the chat right now, there's like I think 20 of you guys. There's only 10 likes. Smash the like button. It helps us out so much. And again, thanks Nate for coming on to the show at 5:30 in the morning.
All
God.
good. Thanks for having me on, Kate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Okay, guys. Code word is gonna be fucking just all caps Nate. Just hype Nate up to take a nap or something.
Woo.
That'll be
Yeah.
the code word. So yeah, we appreciate you guys being here. Subscribe to the channel. I have his stuff in the description, I believe. Yes, I have his stuff in the description. If you want to follow him, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom, follow us on Twitter, Discord, all the things. And until next time, continue on your Joyage. Continue to learn. And we're grateful you're alive watching this video.